All right, welcome to Webinar Wednesday. This is Scott Holohan, and I'm your host this evening. And tonight we have a great talk again. We're going to hit the mentoring topic again. We hit this back in the early part of March, but this time we're going to add a little bit of a twist tonight. We're going to talk about traditional mentoring programs, as Mike will go over here in just a moment. But we also want to dip our toes a little bit into the Pathways program a little bit more as we obviously are in now Pathways, and over the summer and over the fall we want to get used to some of the terminology and maybe some of the aspects of Pathways a little bit. And then once we do that, I think we'll be in a good position to hopefully be able to engage Pathways and embrace it even more than we already are today. So let me introduce Mike. Mike McCoy is an Advanced Communicator Silver and an Advanced Leader Silver. Mike, almost a DTM. It's in sight, isn't it?
Absolutely.
That's great. All right. Mike is a
Right.
past area director. He's also a past assistant area director. He's held several positions in his club, Agawisi Toastmasters, and other Toastmasters clubs. Past vice president of education, a past vice president of public relations, and then he's also the diversity chair in District 40. So promoting a little bit of diversity in terms of whether it's cultural or those types of things, that type of background can really embrace and enhance the club experience. So Mike, I will hand it over to you for your presentation.
Thank you so much, Scott, for that warm introduction. I greatly appreciate it. And to my fellow Toastmasters out there this evening that are listening, it's simply an honor to be able to present this information concerning mentoring. Mentoring, when we talk about mentoring programs, whether at Agawisi Toastmasters number 3500 or any other club in our fine district, it's all about caring for that next persons or that next Toastmasters, that new Toastmasters, that mid-level Toastmasters, that DTM's development. Now, one of the things that I found is that I like to have a motivational quote, and it comes from Custy Amato, who said that a boy comes to me with a spark of interest, but I'd like to say a person comes to me with a spark of interest. I feed the spark, and it becomes a flame. I feed the flame, and it becomes a fire. I feed the fire, and it becomes a roaring blaze. Because in District 40, we're on fire for Toastmasters and mentoring. And as we move forward with our presentation, it's important to understand what is a mentor. Generally, the word means a wise and loyal advisor. In Greek legend, mentor was Odysseus' trusted counselor. Simply put, ladies and gentlemen, mentors are consultants, professional critics, and friendly advisors. Keep those words in mind. Consultants, professional critics, and most importantly, friendly advisors. When we talk about the interaction between the mentor and the mentee, it's very important to understand that the mentor is a guiding hand for the mentee. Think about it, back to when you first started Toastmasters, you knew nothing about our program. And perhaps there was someone who said, you know what, you've got this look on your face like you're like a deer in the headlights. Would you like to sit down and talk about this for a moment? And from that point on, perhaps that's when your career really started. When you think about setting up your mentoring programs, that's what you're doing. You're providing that framework to allow structure, guidance, and support for our Toastmasters from the point of becoming a new Toastmaster to becoming that point of a seasoned Toastmaster. That's what we're doing with our mentoring program. As we take a look at what is an actual mentoring program, ladies and gentlemen, the program helps new and established club members more effectively develop their speaking and leadership skills. Thus, when we talk about being leaders, as we know, Toastmasters is where leaders are made. But guess what? When you implement your mentorship programs, you're providing an opportunity for your entire club to volunteer to lead, guide, and develop. I repeat, lead, guide, and develop your Toastmasters into highly effective speakers and leaders. A mentor serves as a role model, a coach, and a confidant to the mentee. A mentor also offers useful Toastmasters knowledge, insight, perspective, and wisdom to the mentee. For instance, let's say a person's on fire for Toastmasters. They just started and they say, you know what, I would like to be club president. And we've seen it recently where a person has just started and perhaps they've become a club president. Wouldn't it be an awesome situation if there was a mentorship program at that particular club? This is where we're seeing the value of mentoring programs in District 40. A mentor can also take some of the new members' fear out of Toastmasters because, again, the fear of the unknown sometimes exists for people who are just joining our program and are saying, guess what, I want to take on the world, but I don't know which step to take. Your mentoring programs take the fear out of the leadership roles and the speaking roles within Toastmasters. Now, ladies and gentlemen, when we talk about who can be a mentor, the slides are going to tell you any club member who has the desire and time to develop and hone their skills can be that mentor. I would also offer that when you ask for volunteers, kind of keep an eye out for those people who genuinely show that willingness to go above and beyond and have an attitude, I'm going to say that, an attitude and disposition to go the extra mile for people seeking mentorship. Because it's important as we talk about leadership that we allow people the opportunity to serve, being those servant leaders, to help people, to assist people who have that need, who have that desire, but simply don't have the knowledge to connect those points, if you will. A mentor hopefully should have completed several speeches in the basic manual and have performed most meeting roles. That way, that mentor can say, guess what, I've been there, done that, I've worn the t-shirt, here's how I can make it easier for you. Guess what? It takes a new member about 6 months' time to qualify. Because again, we want individuals who have served as that grammarian, served as that evaluator, served as a Toastmaster. Individuals who say, you know what, it's not going to be as bad as what you think. I've served in this role, or if I don't have the answer, guess what? Let me get with a DTM or an advanced communicator or simply someone who's been around some amount of time, who's willing to share, and we can sit down and get you the answer. Ladies and gentlemen, when we talk about the benefits of a mentoring program in your club, I want to share with you that clubs with mentoring programs have a reputation for higher standards. For instance, I'm a member of arguably one of the finest Toastmasters clubs, Agoisi Toastmasters number 3500. And by the way, Agoisi stands for a group of individuals seeking self-improvement. Well, I must offer that individuals who are seeking a mentor perhaps are doing the same things throughout our district. They are individuals seeking self-improvement. And as you set up your mentoring programs in your club, I think you're going to find, as we have, many more members, because on average, we carry about roughly 40 members at a time. 40 members, and we have a high rate of keeping, high percentage of retention of our club members each year. You will have more satisfied members because not only are they paying their dues, not only are they getting their Toastmasters magazine, but I'm not quite sure if you can put a dollar value on the value of a positive club experience. And if people have a positive Toastmasters Club experience, guess what? It spreads. And as that positive word spreads, we get more exposure, positive exposure about the Toastmasters speaking and leadership, communication and leadership program, and you will see that your clubs retain more members. Those are the benefits of developing a strong and viable mentorship program for your clubs in District 40. As we look to the benefits for our members, ladies and gentlemen, I want to share with you that new members will, as a result of having a mentoring program, they're going to learn, if you will, your club's mentoring program, meaning the culture of your club and the ways and means of how your club does business will shape that mentoring program. And the new members will learn your club's standards and customs. Guess what? You'll have new members who develop confidence. And when I say that, I can tell you from personal experience. We had an individual who had just come on board with Toastmasters, and this was about roughly 2 or 3 years ago. They came into the club, maybe came to the club meetings maybe 2 or 3 times, and then they were leading a contest in less than 3 weeks and successfully held the meetings, held the contest, and executed the role of being that contest chair, all because of our mentoring programs and our abilities to provide guidance, leadership, and effective support and mentoring to that individual. Your members will want to participate more. We also saw a marked increase with how quickly new members wanted to speak with regards to icebreakers. At Club Agawisi, or Agawisi Toastmasters number 3500, in less than 30 days, you are assigned a mentor. We have a spreadsheet. We have a mentoring chair that has been myself with the assistance of other club members. And as new members come in, we're quickly matching them. Note, I said matching them with a mentor. Highly successful in that regard. When we talk about our experienced members, guess what? Our experienced Toastmasters are excited to get involved because they get to further and refine their skills, and as a result of mentoring, advanced, seasoned, and Toastmasters with longevity have opportunities because of mentoring to learn new skills. Because as I have seen, mentoring can be and is a two-way street. And that's a positive perspective to keep when we talk about mentoring. Which leads to my next point, ladies and gentlemen, the benefits for mentors. Guess what? As we allow our Toastmasters leaders, those senior Toastmasters who've been around, who I might say greater than 5 years or more, to fully engage the mentor program, the mentorship program, or it's simply those individuals who volunteer and are active, they are going to learn new perspectives about Toastmasters from the mentee. I mean, that's a win-win, most assuredly. The benefits for mentors also are that they're going to remain productive in new ways because, again, being in the mentorship program offers opportunities to stretch your leadership ability, be it fine-tuning your listening skills, fine-tuning your observation of nonverbal communication when you're sitting down with someone. You're listening to the verbal, but what about nonverbal communication? If someone isn't saying, it's the unspoken language that oftentimes keys you in to what may need to be touched upon with regard to mentoring. You also benefit as a mentor in the value of doing something for others. As we've learned, perhaps many of us in Toastmasters have learned, that alludes to servant leadership. As another benefit for mentors, you will receive recognition and satisfaction in the sense that, one, in our mentoring program, during our meeting, we have highlighted the fact that you volunteered for the program. And then two, as a mentor in your club, you will gain the intangible, if you will, element of satisfaction with regard to seeing your mentee be successful. You're going to hone organizational skills because as a mentor, you're going to have to schedule those meetings. you're going to have to take a look at your calendar and say, guess what? What days, times am I available to sit down with the mentee via telephone or hopefully in person and have a cup of coffee and let's go over your CC manual and your CL manual. Let's talk about pathways. Let's talk about your goals and let's see how I can serve you and how I can learn from you in this interaction, which is cyclical. Additionally, the benefit for a mentor will be that you will be able to share your Toastmasters skill set and perhaps other perspectives from your background with the mentee, and the mentee will be able to share their perspectives, which alludes to diversity and inclusion going both ways with that mentor. So again, this is a whole person concept and it's a win-win for everyone. As we move forward with discussing specific framework, i.e. mentoring level 1, the Toastmaster mentor will mentor the new member for their first 3 speeches, which is critical within the competent communicator. This is when we're, again, seeing where that mentoring relationship allows the shaping and the development of a new Toastmaster to gain confidence, to learn to put the notes down, if you will, and the mentor helps to solidify the new skill sets that Toastmaster is gaining. And you're providing support and encouragement so that that mentee will say, you know what, instead of taking 2 years to accomplish my CC, why don't I get it done in 8 months? That way I can effectively grasp the skill sets that the Toastmasters Leadership and Communication Program is teaching me, and I have someone who is my mentor who can help me. Once the first 3 speeches are completed, ladies and gentlemen, the mentor will continue yet again to encourage, support, and here's a key point, motivate the mentee. How often have we seen where someone's on fire for Toastmasters and then sometimes either work or personal life or other factors might impede the motivation? It's that Toastmasters mentor who could pick up a phone or might see you in person and say, you know what, I thought we had a goal of achieving this milestone by this time. How's that coming? Little nuggets of encouragement can provide opportunities for great gain with advancement, which leads to my next point. Within AGA, we see in our level 2 portion of our mentoring program, the Toastmasters mentor will mentor the member for their next 3 speech project, CC speeches 4 through 6, and through the completion of the project 6 in the Competent Leadership Manual, serving on a committee for a club event. Again, with a mentoring program, you have opportunities at your own respective club to tie the mentoring experience to the CL or the Competent Leadership Manual, project number 6, because not only are we assisting that new mentee to learn to grasp and master their Competent Communicator Manual, but guess what? We're saying, hey, there's contests coming up. Can you lead one? And then that person says, yes, I can, as long as you're going to help me. And we've seen that time and time again. We have many success stories, as I had mentioned earlier, about the new Toastmaster who came on board and in less than a month was raring to go, led that speech contest, and was highly successful. If the mentee has already completed this project, meaning number 6, the mentor will aid them in chairing a club contest or perhaps another special event that is germane to your respective club. I mean, it's more something that your club does, and this is yet again another opportunity to fulfill a requirement in the CL manual, project 8 or 10. Again, a win-win for your clubs because of the development of a strong and viable mentoring program. Let's take a look at mentoring level 3. Here, this is the culmination of the mentoring program, specifically as it relates to completion of the mentee's Competent Communicator Manual speeches 7 through 10. The mentor will guide the mentee regarding new public speaking skills and techniques. Here in our club, this is where, and I want to make note of this for everyone listening, you may not have the same mentor through all the stages of their mentoring process. For your first 3 speeches, you'll have one mentor. Then at the next point of transition, meaning speeches 4 through 6, you'll receive another mentor. And then for speeches 7 through 10, you will be reassigned to yet another mentor. Why do we do this in our club? Because it affords that mentee to receive new perspectives. It gives them an opportunity to learn from different Toastmasters and for different Toastmasters to develop their mentoring skills. Again, creating stronger Toastmasters because of the diversity and experience of leadership. The mentor will guide the mentee regarding new public speaking skills and techniques, and the mentee will need to complete one of the following. They will have to serve on a Toastmaster committee or chair a committee for a contest, Project 8, or a special event, Project 10. Awesome opportunities, awesome reasons for having a mentoring program to allow that Toastmaster, that new mentee, to experience working on a project and allowing them to use their skill sets they may have had prior to coming to Toastmasters, allowing them to execute them in a structured manner. When we speak of advanced mentoring, this is important to note because sometimes we think that the mentoring program is only for that new mentee. But what about our seasoned Toastmasters or our mid-level Toastmasters who are attempting to become DTM? With our Agawisi mentoring program, the advanced mentoring program might be for a minimum 3-month period. Here we'll have a much seasoned Toastmaster take that ACB, ACS, or ACG level Toastmaster, and the focus is on developing their speaking skill sets to a higher level, as well as providing much more challenging leadership opportunities for that person who seeks to grow even stronger in our Toastmasters program. The mentor will guide the mentee through one advanced communicator manual and towards the successful completion of an advanced leadership task or manual. Specifically speaking to leadership tasks, completion of the CL manual or the competent leadership manual and completion of the first 6 months as a club officer. When you have a structured mentorship program, you are allowing the foundation for leadership to flourish because you are saying, guess what? We've got something for you, whether you're a brand new Toastmaster, a mid-level Toastmaster, or a senior Toastmaster who's simply looking to exercise positively their skill set and polish their leadership skills. As we take a look at what we've discussed so far, the need for a mentor, the definition for a mentor, what mentorship is, Agawisi Toastmasters or any Toastmasters program in the district in the respective clubs with regards to levels 1, 2, and 3. It's very important that we take a look at those critical mentor skills. A mentor should be, and hopefully is, a good listener. If a mentor is a good listener, they have the capability to listen to what is most critical to that mentee's development. A mentor will give useful suggestions confidently because it's important to have a positive attitude. It's important to have that servant leadership perspective, but it's also important to be confident. If you step out and provide guidance and leadership to someone, take that time to be confident about what you're saying because you've done your homework, you know what you're talking about, and you're simply excited to give that positive nugget of wisdom to your mentee. Very important for a mentor to be flexible to new ideas. Remember how earlier in the program we talked about the fact that mentoring can be a two-way street. Thank goodness for the capabilities of a two-way conversation. And thank goodness for the fact that people have diverse backgrounds and life experiences, which can help enhance the mentor mentee relationship. It's important that a mentor, most importantly, be supportive. If you can't meet with your mentor, your mentee in person, it's important that that mentor says, you know what, I'm going to give you a phone call. I'm going to take 5 minutes and just ask you, how are you doing? How are your projects coming? And what can I do to assist you? What can I do to help you to be successful? Also, another nugget that's very important is that mentors be sensitive to mentee feelings. I can tell you from being a mentor myself that there's so many times when a new Toastmaster is not confident and all they're looking for is someone who can help them to believe that they can be successful as well. Last but not least, be respectful of different cultures. And this is critical to cultural intelligence, diversity, and inclusion. Things that you might say or actions you might take, be sensitive to different cultures. Learn, ask for feedback, fight for feedback, get a sense of the mentee's background, learn, take some time to do some research about other cultures, i.e., cross cultural communication skill set. Go to the library, go online, and have discussion with your mentee to find out what their cultural background is. And I think that you will find as a Toastmasters mentor, you are sharpening your own sword with regard to cultural intelligence, and you're learning much more about diversity and inclusion. My next point, when we speak about critical mentee skills, it's very important for the mentee to be grateful for a mentor's effort. And when I say that, I'm simply saying that wouldn't it be a great thing if a mentee says, thank you for what you're doing? It's also important for that mentee to be eager to learn. Because again, this is a two-way street. I mean, that mentor has to have that energy, that drive, but then the mentee has to also reflect that they are completing their assignments, they're reading the assignments, and they're just plain old trying to do their best. It's important for mentees to be open to new ideas because each Toastmaster has a different take on the communication and leadership projects. They might have different perspectives. It's important for mentees to be loyal and not violate confidences. When I say that, I just mean that sometimes there are certain nuggets of wisdom that perhaps a seasoned Toastmaster might say, this is something that has worked for me. Doesn't mean it will work for everyone else. It's important for that mentee to be receptive to feedback. And also, everyone, please remember that a mentee is not necessarily a new member. You could have an advanced Toastmaster who says, you know what, I've been out of the Toastmasters loop, and I'd like to have my skill set brought back on board or polished, particularly with the inception of the new Pathways program. You might find that some Toastmasters might say, hey, I need to learn this new process, and I'm looking for a mentor. Awesome opportunity, yet again. As we move forward, the mentoring process, very quickly, a mentee will get assigned, or a Toastmaster in your club will get assigned as a mentor, and they'll choose their mentee, or that mentor chair, that mentoring chair might match the mentor and the mentee, depends on the club culture. The mentor and mentee will sit down together, and they will discuss goals. That mentor is going to sit down with the mentee, with the notebook, and take notes about what are the specific goals of the mentee. And in that conversation, they're going to talk about goals with regards to the icebreaker and goals for leadership. Remember, it's a two-way street. With the mentoring process, provide positive feedback often because people need support. They want to know that they are making progress. They want to know that, hey, they're meeting expectations. Explain speech contests. Invite mentees to other events. I mean, isn't it a great thing if your mentor says, Are you going to that TLI? Well, perhaps I'll see you there. And then we can sit down, have a cup of coffee and a donut, and I can explain to you the importance of going to different workshops. That's where you have the value and you earn your money with this mentoring program. And again, tell your mentee how, as a mentor, tell your mentee how you have benefited from the entire experience. How much time does this entail? Generally, about 15 minutes a week will do it. I mean, it just depends on what are the goals of the mentee. But again, flexibility is key. Where might you meet for mentoring? This could be at the library. This might be at a restaurant. It could be out in the park. It could be anywhere. It's just the whole point is that you're having structured and focused time to review speech and leadership projects from Toastmasters, and you're providing that guiding hand of leadership. Why should you participate? Because as a leader, you're always looking for new opportunities to develop confidence as a coach. You're looking for your abilities and opportunities, your ability to serve and your opportunity to make a difference. In closure, I highly recommend every Toastmaster become a mentor at some point during their Toastmasters career. I think that it's a rewarding part of our Toastmasters experience, and I think that as you become a mentor, you have that capability and opportunity to make a difference. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Michael. Awesome job. I didn't keep up with you at the past couple of slides there, but anyways, thank you so much for doing that.
No problem.
I really
No
appreciate
problem. It's my pleasure.
the great stories and the examples that you used, and just the framework that you also portrayed is in there as well, is really the key focus of tonight's call. I appreciate one of the things about one of the questions that I had that you answered right there was how much time does this take? And we're not talking like hours and hours, right? We're talking,
no.
I think, like you said, 15 minutes or so a week.
Right.
And so as long as you're focused and that sort of thing, I think that's the key thing, is making sure that you're kind of doing some homework, right? You're prepared when you go in there, and the
Absolutely.
mentor and the mentee.
Yes, Scott, you are nailing it. It's not as hard as what people are making it. 15 minutes. How are you doing, sir, ma'am, or Tom, or Susie? How's it going for you? Oh, you're having a rough patch right here? Guess what? I've had the same one. Here's how I cleared it up for myself. We're talking a 15-minute conversation, and you'd be surprised at value. Go ahead, Scott.
That's great. One of the things I was curious about is, the mentoring program is part of the traditional vice president of education, kind of under that umbrella, if you will, or under that responsibility of the VPE.
Absolutely.
Do you find that there are other people within the club besides the VPE, because the VPE has got a pretty big role in the organization or in the club? Who else typically gets involved with helping to assign mentors, or I'm sorry, or mentors and mentees, if you will? Are there anybody else?
Awesome question, Scott. What we do at Club Agawisi is that we have the Vice President of Education, and then underneath the Vice President of Education, we have appointed, hint, like myself, the mentoring chair. The mentoring chair, whose sole responsibility is to manage that program and report the results to the VPE. There's nothing wrong with taking different jobs from the VPE role and providing opportunities for leadership to those folks who are looking for them in your club. Because as you said, the VPE role has quite a load. So why not offer, bifurcate those roles and then assign them to those volunteers who are saying, hey, I can be a mentoring chair. Just, teach me how to do it, and then I'll report to you the status.
Excellent.
Go-getters. That's been successful for us.
Debbie or Sandra or Arlen, do you have any questions that you'd like to ask Mike?
This is Arlen. I don't have any questions, but I do want to say that even way down here in Lexington, Kentucky, Aguisi is known as the gold standard in mentoring. If you want to have a good mentoring program, you do it like this. And I think copies of your program have been plagiarized and passed around from club to club.
Outstanding. This is great to hear.
Unfortunately, I'm not sure that they have implemented it quite as effectively as you guys have up there. It does take a lot of dedication. But in terms of who to have on a program like this and presenting like this, I don't think that there can be any better person than somebody from Aguisi.
Well, you know what? Thank you for that huge compliment. I'm serious. That was very nice of you. And
Take that
I'd
back
like
to your club.
Oh,
Michael.
absolutely, yes. Yes, this is a huge compliment for our team and our club. I'm going to bring it back to them. But I also want to share this point. I want to share this point with you all. Keep trying. And it does take time. Your club's mentoring program can be as strong or stronger than ours. It just takes time, and you're getting different people involved who will make it grow.
That's great. One of the things that Kathy wanted me to mention tonight is that, you know, we're starting to get into pathways here, and pathways in level 2 is when we start talking about mentoring in the pathways program. But Kathy really wanted to stress that establishing a formal mentoring program in the club is paramount even before you start talking about pathways and what the mentoring program is there. So we just really want to make sure that having a mentoring program is really vital to be set up first. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to send this around to all of you. There's a couple of examples now. Michael just presented the Aguisi, but there's also another program, CIC Speaks. And as long as you have these written down, you know, that's a great way for you to, or great way for anybody to understand that you do have a mentoring program and you're going to follow it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree with you totally, Scott.
And it really just, one of the things that that Kathy wanted to mention is, you know, just start with a spreadsheet and these headings down here, you know, the mentor, the mentee, when they started, just as simple as that. And that way you can make sure that you're knowing who's got who and who's assigned to who. Nobody gets overloaded in terms of mentors, that sort of thing. So it's just really important to make sure that you have a program in place, like what Mike mentioned, and then just a simple management spreadsheet just to know who's with who.
And if I may offer, Scott, to everyone on the call this evening, wouldn't it be a great thing if there was a certificate at the end of the mentoring program? And wouldn't it be a great thing if you just made it simple for your mentoring program that you said that, hey, during your time as the mentor, we only want you to accomplish 3 things with this mentee. When you provide guidance, counsel, and structure for your mentor during his or her experience during the program, you'd be amazed at what gets accomplished. Give them 3 simple things to do.
Yep.
Isn't it kind of neat?
Yes. It's good homework. It's focus. Yeah, it's focus.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Seriously. Okay, the goal might be that you meet with your mentee 5 times over this amount of time via telephone or in person. You provide them 5 notes of feedback. Just very simple things. And then you'll see how people say, oh, I can do that. And then that's when you have success. That's all I wanted to say with regards to that point.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Sure. Any other comments, Debbie or Sandra? Do you have any comments or things that you'd like to ask or comment?
This is Sandra. I just wanted to say thank you. I don't think I can get enough information regarding the mentor program. So again, Mike, I appreciate you taking the time.
You're
sharing
welcome. Thank you. I'm serious. I really appreciate that. Anything I can do, if you have my Toastmasters email or Any contact information, please contact me. I'll be glad to talk to you about it.
I'll make sure that I think Sandra mentioned today that she may have lost your contact info. So I'll make sure that as an action, I'll make sure that everybody gets your contact info and maybe can reach out to you or somebody in your club to help out.
I really appreciate that. And I also want to say thank you again to everyone who's expressed their thanks for this briefing tonight and for their, their general appreciation of our mentoring program, because we're here to share it with everyone.
That's great. One of the things that we wanted to maybe talk about a little bit is kind of give a dip or a little sneak peek into the Pathways program. And as Kathy mentioned in the previous note there, level 2 is when the mentoring program starts within Pathways. So obviously there's probably not very many, if any, people in the district that are at level 2 yet. Maybe one, maybe a few, maybe Arlen, you might be one of them. But as far as the experience level, we don't have that yet to really dive deep into that mentoring program within Pathways. But there's some simple terminology that Arlen, you mentioned that might be good to start now, is maybe some terminology to get used to. And one of the things that you mentioned in some of the handouts that you're getting is the use of the word protege and not mentee.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
So we might start seeing some different terminology in the new Pathways program as we progress throughout the summer and into the fall timeframe.
Okay.
And they also say something about how the Pathways definitions for mentors and proteges is a mentor is an experienced member who provides guidance and support to empower proteges to reach their goals, which really all they're doing there, I think, is changing the names, right? Really, that's the purpose of a mentor anyways, right?
Right.
In
Right.
the old sense.
Well, now let me add something here.
Go ahead. Sure.
I actually have a mentor badge. I've actually completed a path.
Wonderful.
And have my mentor badge. Yeah.
Wow.
So it is kind of interesting to see the mentoring program sort of grow up a little bit here in Pathways. They are very clear that the mentor is not responsible for the protege. For that reason, they want to stay away from words like coach.
Oh.
Because when you think about a coach in a sports team, the coach is responsible for laying out all of the plays that the players make, and the coach is responsible for winning the games. And when the games don't get won, the coach gets fired. So they were very clear to stay away from any terminology that would appear to take any responsibility off of the protege. So that's why they've chosen these words: guidance and support to empower the protege, meaning the protege is the one who's responsible for actually doing the deeds and carrying through what they say they're going to. So I wanted to throw that in there real quick before we got too far apart, because they feel very strongly about some of these things.
No, that's a very good point. I'm glad you brought that up. I'm taking a note of that myself. Thank you.
So
Thank you for that.
Yeah, so I think that we wanted to start throwing out the terminology, and as Arlen has well articulated, we need to be consistent with that terminology so that people can use it in the same light and that there's no confusion, or minimal confusion, I should say.
This is Sandra. Thank you, Arlen. I really appreciate hearing that.
Yes.
Oh, sure.
That might help the clubs just embrace it more, because maybe that mentor thought that they were responsible for the person, and there was maybe some fear there or some anxiety.
Exactly. I agree with you both on that, with all of you. Exactly.
Interesting.
I think that training for the mentors, and especially for standardization between the mentors, is going to be the big thing that's different. Now, the only really new concept with the Pathways mentoring is with forms. They actually use forms to have everything written down. And these forums are actually very good. They're very effective. They're very productive, and they keep people focused on what the mission is and what the goals of the protege are. So
some of these PDFs that you're talking about here?
What I did was I sent you copies of my form that I used with my protege. And the reason you have 3 of them there is because they work together. You see the protege's goals, then you see the protege's success plan where we actually put them down to timetables. And then you see the communications log and you see where we went through systematically to attain the protege's goals.
Outstanding. Wow.
I might be going backwards here, but yeah. So as you can see, when I pull up these, it looks like the branding is very similar to Pathways. As you can see, this banner up here and the font looks very similar to the projects in Pathways.
It is. Those are Pathways forms. What I'm saying is they are the forms that I personally use with my protege.
Okay.
Notice it's all filled out there.
Yes. So this is some of the homework that needs to be done by the protege or the mentee now.
Well, for me personally, now this is just my opinion, it works best if you email the forms to the protege ahead of time so that they can be looking it over, because it is a bit for them to digest, especially if they haven't given it some real clear thought into what their specific goals are. But really, they still need the mentor's help in filling out the forms because they don't know what the possibilities are and they don't know what a realistic goal is. So you're probably going to email them ahead of time and say, be looking over these, be thinking about that. And then when we get together, we'll fill it out.
Well, that's a great point, because I was thinking when Mike was presenting, I was thinking, what if that new protege, if you will, or that person who's just coming into the club doesn't even know what they want or doesn't even know what their goals are?
Right.
Which may happen. This gives a good way to help work through that and capture that.
Yeah, the forms lend the structure that Mike had referred to. The forms lead the focus that Mike had talked about. So really, a lot of the things that Mike talked about are still applicable. When I was looking at the slideshow that he had there, with the exception of a few words and the exception of a few slides, for the most part, I would say that 99% of that slideshow is still very much in tune with the Pathways message and mentoring. There's just a little bit more structure in how to do it. You know, before they told us a lot about what to do, but not how to do it. So now it appears to me that they've given us a little bit more information about how to do it.
Thank you so much for that. I think that's a great way to put it. And I think that's what Kathy was trying to get at earlier with me and just sending via email. Thank you for verbally acknowledging that.
Well, I
guess
think in a lot of ways they've made
it. Arlen, yep.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I said I think in a lot of ways they have done a good job at making it easier for us as a club to have a mentoring program.
Yep. So this is really just meant to be more of a, hey, we're starting to dip our toes into this now, and let's embrace it. Let's transition that. I mean, there's certainly going to be some people who are still in the traditional education system that are going to finish out their CCs or CLs that still may need to have a mentor per se, or a mentee, I should say, a mentor assigned. And then when they get into Pathways, we start rocking and rolling with this new stuff, with the new materials here.
Exactly. But I'm excited to see these forms, and I think that it's important for us to have that positive attitude, considering this new transition that we're all going to, I guess, all eventually make.
That's great. Well, let me wrap up and let me make some comments here. I really appreciate Arlen and Sandra and Debbie and Mike, especially your information tonight and how we maybe took it a little bit step further tonight. We talked a little bit more about pathways here in the past 5-10 minutes and really started to talk about where we're going with pathways and got a really good glimpse into what it's going to be like. What I'm going to do is I'm going to post this webinar on our D40 YouTube channel, and then also our members.d40toastmasters.org website. That way that we'll have a couple channels that you may resonate with and can review this. Also send out Michael's contact info so that you can get a hold of him. And Arlen, would you mind if I give you a shameless plug for your upcoming district conference, the spring conference? So you're going to be a part of a panel discussion, I think, correct?
Yes, because I have completed a path and I kind of did it in an unusual way. They wanted me to sort of provide some entertainment and education by sharing my story.
Well, we will look forward to that very much.
I certainly do. Yeah.
I will be there, and I'm going to make sure I get on that session there. So sorry,
I'll be there
find the right words there. Well, again, I appreciate everybody's conversations tonight, and we hope that this is educational for you. And we really appreciate the opportunity to talk about mentoring. It's really the basis for keeping our club strong and vital. Thanks again for your time, and we'll talk to you later.
Have a great evening, everyone, and thank you again for this opportunity.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night. Good night, everyone. Take care, Scott. Take care, everyone.
Yep, you too. Bye.
Bye, Scott. Well, how do you think it went?